Hi, Joe.
Hi, Sue.
It looks like you're giving these roses a score. What's
Yes.
going on here?
Well, this is the test garden here at Woodward Park behind the main garden, main rose garden. And what we have here are roses that are entered into the official scoring for the AARS, and that's the All America Rose Selections Incorporated. And they are a group that was organized in 1938 to guard against, I guess, what you would say, pirating of hybridized roses. Hybridizers before then would come up with a nice rose, and then someone else could come along and take a cutting of it, and they had no protection.
Oh, okay.
And so they kind of gotten into the patent business and formed this society also, the All-American Rose Selection.
Well, now, when we're buying roses, is that little green metal tag that's attached to some of them?
Yes.
It's AARS.
Yes. Any rose that has that tag on it is a winner that has been selected by that committee. And what they do, when a hybridizer thinks that he has a potential winner, he will enter it into that year's test. We get new roses every year. Right now we're in the class of '88, and we have about 50 entries here. Of course, that's not 50 hybridizers. Some hybridizers send more than one entry.
Well, now, are these sent all over the country?
Yes, there are 20 official test gardens right now.
Oh, and Tulsa's one of them. That's really
Yes.
special.
Yes, it is. We're quite fortunate to have a test garden here.
Is it the only one in Oklahoma?
Yes, it is. I think the next closest garden would be St. Louis Botanical Garden. They have one. There's also one like in Denver, where their climate will be somewhat different than ours. And I think Tyler, Texas, of course, they're a rose capital.
Sure.
They probably have one down there.
So that once all the scores are compared across the country, I guess do you end up with a rose that will grow well most anywhere?
Yes, that's what they're ultimately hoping to find, is a rose that will be exhibit good qualities in just about any part of the country.
I see. Well, what are you looking for when you're scoring the roses?
Well, there's a number of things. They do provide us with a score sheet, and there's 15 characters on this score sheet. And they have anything from what the bud form or bud color is to...
and by that you mean before it opens?
Well, no, it would be just 1/4 open would be what the bud color is that you're looking at, and a bud form. And then as the bloom opens on up, you'll judge it on the color and the form that it has once it's opened. And one that's all the way open is when you can see the stamens on the inside. But of course here it's just a tight bud, so you can't tell anything just as of yet.
What else do you look for?
Well, we're looking for the flower, of course, and the stem or the cluster of the blooms. So you can see here you have a nice cluster of blooms. And they're looking for the vigor of the bush, the form of the bush.
Well, that almost looks like, the size of those almost looks like a miniature.
Well, this is an interesting entry here. It may be doing something somewhere else, but the hybridizer might have seen something where he was growing it that he liked. But here in Oklahoma, the bush has gotten awful tall for such a small flower, and it does look kind of like a miniature on a large bush.
It looks a little bit funny.
I don't know how that'll do. But as you can see, most of the roses are a pretty good size. This is just 1 year's growth also. So ones that score in the top 20 out of, like say we got 50 entries this year, they'll take the top 20. They compile my scores with the other 19 judges and they'll average. The top 20 will be kept for a second year of scoring, and the others below that will be discarded.
Well, now this one looks like it's tipping over a little bit.
Yes, that's another character where you come in and look at the stem. You can see this is a nice large bloom, and it's a very nice bloom, but the stem isn't strong enough to hold it up and display the flower well like you would see on this one here.
Oh, yeah, I can see that one. Back there is a big bloom and a nice stout stem.
Now that's a nice looking selection so far.
Oh.
Another thing that will come into play that's really not on the score sheet is its winter hardiness.
Well, that'd be important here with our fluctuating temperatures.
Yes.
Too.
So that's why they have the test gardens all across the United States too.
Now, are these miniatures included with all the others on the same test?
Yes, every year we get about 10 to 12 miniature entries. There are a number of rose growers, hybridizers in the United States that grow nothing but miniature roses, and you can see we have a real nice selection here. They're scored with the same score sheet as the large roses.
Oh, so they're all ranked together.
Yes. Last year we had our first miniatures win an AARS award. We had two, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's great. Well, now this garden, you're missing some roses. What's the story here?
Well, this is the class of '87, so this is their second year. And so we score them 4 times in the 2 years they're up here. The spring and the fall, then the next year, which we scored these last spring, and then we'll score them this fall, and then that'll be their finished scoring, and then the AARS will judge or will vote on the top scoring roses at their meetings during the winter.
And then those will be the winners, and maybe a few years down the road we might see them for sale in nurseries.
Yes, it takes a couple of years for the hybridizer, if he wins the award, to build up enough stock to be able to put it out on the market.
Oh, that'd be important.
Yes.
I can see that. Well, I hope this gives you all a better appreciation for the good roses that you find in nurseries and garden centers.